Jay, West Point graduate, Army vet, has done tours in Middle East multiple times. $100 million producer at this point.
Pretty close, yeah, something like that.
Has run a successful branch, been in the business for 5 years, never relied on realtors for your clients, and you are building a massive online lead generation directly to you without buying any leads ever. What are you most proud of?
Well, man, that's a heck of an introduction. Thanks, Sam. Um, Man, most proud. I know it's cliche, but obviously for the people that don't know me, I primarily do VA loans. And so, as you know, and as y'all know, they can get sometimes a bad rap for whatever reasons. And so at the end of a transaction, at the close table afterwards, I've had so many realtors say, dude, that was actually awesome. Like, I had no idea VA loans were that easy or that this. And so just getting that feedback and changing their mind about VA loans. And so for the future, more veterans can hopefully use their entitlement. That's been like the biggest win.
I love that. It's actually it's really interesting because it's tactical. You're not just thinking I'm changing one veteran's life. You're saying I'm actually changing the perception that helps more veterans across the board everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has gone in? Do you have a specific process for changing realtors' perception?
A lot of it starts up front before we get under contract. When we make offers, I usually try to call the listing agent, like a good loan officer, to introduce myself and see what hesitations they have. So you even just ask them, hey, is there anything about this offer, anything about the financing that you have questions about or gives you pause, right? And then just shut up because they're going to tell you the answer. And then if it's like, hey, I heard VA loans take 45 days, or I hear like y'all are offering on a $1.8 million house, like VA loans don't go over $1 million. And so those are you're like, obviously you laugh because you know the real answer. So you have those conversations and they're like, oh, I had no idea. And so it starts up front, right? And then it's just tell them, I'm like, hey, if you accept our offer, I'm going to show you everything that we can do. Me and my team are going to give it everything we got. We're going to give you everything we have to get to the closing table, because you're giving us your trust. You're basically, even realtors are basically handing over their commission, right? Their paycheck
Yeah.
to the lender and say, hey, get us to the closing table. And so it takes some trust for somebody that's, especially here in Texas, where I live. Um, I do loans in 40 something states. And so that's another hesitation. Well, my local guy, Sam, he knows the appraisers and he can pick them. I'm like, that's not the way it works with VA loans. We all order them through WebLGY. So I kind of explained to them the process of how it works. And they're like, oh, okay. So at the end of the day, it's just communication and trying to put to bed any myths and just being transparent, too. And like, hey, is there a lot of wood siding on the home? Is there any look down there at the lower part? Because that's typically where it happens, or especially around the garage doors. Is there some wood rot, especially here in Texas where there's a lot of moisture? And just tell them like, that's probably going to get flagged. Like we need to get ahead of it. And they're like, oh, okay. So that's not that big of a deal. Um, so the conversations is crucial because otherwise they're just going to assume the worst. They're going to assume what they heard on Reddit or any number of those freaking real estate groups on Facebook that are just a cesspool
Yeah.
of negativity and bad information.
Are you making the calls when the offer is going in or once you have the contract?
Once the offer is going in,
Okay.
because
So
yeah,
you're getting
so
ahead of it immediately.
yeah, and so a lot of it takes coaching with the buyer's agent, and I'll even tell them, I'm like, look, you have to CC me on the email offer because for one, it makes us look like a team because we are a team. And then two, it puts me in the know and I can get ahead and introduce myself. So I've done a variety of ways. I've done phone calls. I've even done Loom videos introducing myself. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you do it, just do something and get ahead of talking with the listing agent.
I really like that. You're saying basically communication, the point is to get the information you want across and potentially get the information you need back. And whatever vehicle you use for that is fair game. Phone call, boom, text, doesn't matter
Hmm.
as long as the job gets done.
Yeah, especially in a competitive offer environment. You know, right now there's parts of the country where it's not too competitive, so that's kind of nice. But sometimes there is, and there's 10 offers, and the VA loan. I've even they're transparent. They're like, look, you guys are the highest offer right now, but we may not want to accept it because it's VA, and VAs for poor credit buyers or people that have no money or any number of wrong, right? Kind of myths. And so we talk about it. I'm like, no, my client could actually pay cash for this house if they wanted to, but they understand the power of leveraging and they have their money elsewhere, making a higher rate of return than the interest rate on this mortgage. So why would they put 500,000 down or whatever when they're making more of that rate of return somewhere else?
So it seems like you have to educate the listing agent, but potentially also your current realtors, the buyer's realtor. And for people who don't know you, most of your clients actually do come to you first. You don't get referrals from realtors as much. You do, but that's not the main source of your business. Do you find that you have to educate your buyer's agents as well as you meet them?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and it's not their fault. Like, I'm not like trying to paint a bad picture of realtors. They only know what they've been told or what they've maybe have experienced with other lenders. And so, yeah, the education with the buyer's agent is crucial, especially how you structure offers right now, where we're getting a lot of seller concessions, in the Texas and Floridas and areas where there's a lot of inventory. They're like, oh, we're going to lowball 20,000 or 30,000. And you're like, well, no, like if you think it's going to appraise at the asking price, have you all thought about asking for 30,000 in seller concessions? Because let me show you the math. Let me show you what we can do with it. And their monthly payment's actually less when you buy down the rate or whatever you're doing than if you're like offering a lower purchase price. They're like, oh my God, like I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't even think about it that way. So Jay, people listening right now, they've heard a couple of things and they're really curious. One is you're $100 million producer. You've been in the business for 5 years, and you don't get most of your business from realtors. So answer these questions. What's been your best month in terms of volume or units, whichever you want to do? How did you get started, and how do you even get your business?
Oh man. Um, Best month, I don't remember the exact amount. I think it was over 16 million. And I think that was recently too, like in 2025,
That was in
which show
was in
which
April.
shows you, yeah, yeah. So that just shows you that wasn't at 2.25 interest rate environment. That was actually like heavy purchase and higher rates. And so the other question was, how did I get started? Or what was, sorry, I'm like
Yeah.
flashy, like I forget things.
How did you get started in the business, and what does your business model look like?
Okay. Not to do a long story, but I was an oil and gas engineer prior to mortgages and just decided one day that I was tired of it and I wanted to work for myself and work from home. I got kids and I used to be in the military and the whole purpose of me leaving the military was to be home more and see my family more. And I was traveling a lot for work and I'm like, well, what am I doing? So I kind of evaluated different industries that could help at the end of the day. I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to work with people and help people, and so I felt mortgages was the best avenue. And just told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm going to jump into a job that's 100% commission. And she's like, okay, you know what you're doing, right? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out. So as any loan officer that enters the industry, like you just figure it out, right? You like, what works for me? Is it open house, which is great. Like, dude, there's loan officers that build their entire business off cold calling or open houses or whatever. But that wasn't my strategy. My strategy was going to build trust and education online through social media. I knew that was going to be the fastest growth because I didn't have. I mean, we're a single income family. Like, I didn't have time to like do 2 years of open houses and build my business that way. I had to build it quickly. So I knew you could scale with social media, and I just kind of naturally like it. I like making content, as weird as that sounds. Um, and
You're
so
very good
that's
at it.
been Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's just like anything. It's just like a sport or weightlifting or muscle memory, right? Like you can't just do it once and you're like, oh, I suck. Well, of course you suck. Like you haven't practiced, like everyone sucks their first video or two or 100, to give Kyle Draper a shout out, that's kind of like his mantra is like, get over yourself and make the content because people need you. They need to hear your value and your education and your insights. And so when you approach it from that perspective, like who cares? Like if I look dorky or whatever, like, so that's how I built my business. And then naturally, the referral partners start to come through more, the more transactions that you close, the more opportunities that you have to build referral partners and past clients. And then I've also had realtors refer me business that technically we've never even done a transaction together with, but they follow me on social media. They see the content that I put out and we've built kind of this parasocial relationship online where they've trust me enough to refer clients just based on the information that I put out.
Wow. So you're getting referrals from realtors that you're not meeting in person, you're not asking for business, but they see you and they start to put your name out there with their clients.
Yeah, yeah. I've most realtors that I work with, like on a kind of continual basis now, obviously I didn't have any to start, but most of them I've never met, because they're in Colorado or Wyoming or Montana. And so on the same side, like I don't have opportunities to go to a lot of closings. So I think closings, if I was doing more local, I would try to go, but I think I've been to one closing
Ever?
ever. Yeah.
Uh, I've never been to one either. I just didn't know why I would go, to be honest. So what were you already good at social media when you started? Or were you
No,
starting from zero?
I didn't even have Facebook or anything. And to be honest with you, like social media is obviously very important for business, but like outside of that, like I'm not a huge fan of social media
Mm.
just because of the negativity and the comparisons and all the stuff that comes with it. But it can be a very good tool as well. So no, I didn't. I kind of had to learn, and just like anything, man, you just how do you do something? And you like, I don't even know how to add captions or any of that. So you just fumble your way through it. And then eventually you get okay at it. And then eventually you figure out that your time is best suited for other things. So you start delegating, and that's a leap of faith because that costs money, right? And
Mhm.
you pretty much have to trust yourself and invest in yourself. Like, dude, I'm going to hire a video editor, or I'm going to hire a social media person, or an assistant, or whatever it is, and just trust that this money spent is end up going to free up my time, which is the most valuable resource that all of us have. And that allows me to go originate or make more content or whatever you're trying to do, more open houses, whatever.
Yeah, and one note I will say, especially with the leap of faith that you took, and it goes with everything. Everything in business is a little bit of leap of faith, and it's almost guaranteed at a certain point you're not going to get the return that you want. It's just learn from it, fix it, and do it better.
Yeah, especially with social media. Like there'll be a video that I make and I'm like, dude, this video is amazing. I was on my game. Like this is such a good one. And you post it and it's just like freaking crickets, And and then you'll post one like I posted one the other day where I just had my phone and I thought of something and just did a quick little impromptu selfie style video, not fancy or anything. And that resonated with a lot, and it got like 50,000 views or some BS, and a lot of leads from it. So that just shows you, like, for the people on here, like, oh, I can't make videos because I don't have a fancy camera or a fancy setup or this or that. You don't need any of that. Like you really don't. And that really delayed me. If I could go back, I made a number of mistakes, but that was one of the biggest mistakes is delaying producing content because I felt I wasn't
Mm,
ready or I felt I didn't have the right setup.
interesting. So how long did it take you until you started to make a living in origination?
Um, I really right away. I mean, the interest rates dropping helped, obviously. When rates started dropping, refinances come around, so it's a lot easier to kind of cut your teeth and get into the business with refis coming around. But I was making enough within the first year to like at least survive, and
Good.
then every single year it's pretty much, grown.
Fair. And then we met each other and we started to work each with together
Yep.
in 2023. I remember at that time you had your best month ever. I will never forget this. You did 8 loans in 1 month and you were worried if you could sustain it. And it was if it was possible to get to even 10 loans a month. Do you remember that? We were met in
Yeah, I
Coppell,
remember that.
Texas.
Because at that time, for one, it's new territory for you. And two, I didn't have the systems and structure in place. And so anybody that's done 8, 9, 10 units a month or whatever, and just solely by yourself, it almost seems like daunting. Like how am I going to do this every single month? Especially if you have some problem child loans.
Absolutely. It's and you if you don't know what you don't know, and it's scary for what's around the corner, but like you said, you just do it and then you get better and you do it better. And sometimes you look back like, I wish I should have done this earlier. But it's all part of the
Yeah.
process.
Yep. So you were really good with helping me kind of, hey man, there's many people that have been in your shoes before. Here's some things you can implement right away, and then long-term plays and everything. So obviously that's helped.
What I like about you, and this is going to change a little bit, is that you give a lot. So you have a branch, you have loan officers who are also doing 10 loans above. Some of them are newer, some of them are more experienced, but you really invest in your loan officers to grow as well. How did that start?
I think I know it's cliche, but the winners want to be around other winners, right? And like your circle of who you associate yourself with and who you just hang around, like you naturally, I don't know if it's through osmosis or what, but you naturally just kind of start getting better. And so I had a few loan officers that were working at various other companies, and they kind of saw what I was doing online and picked up the phone. And at first, it was more just like picking each other's brains and helping. And then eventually, they're like, "Do you just want to work together?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that." Because at the time, I wasn't like even that wasn't part of my plan. My plan was just to produce, and I wasn't like trying to build a team at that point or anything. And so they joined, and then another one joined, and then you know how it goes, it's just kind of snowball effect. And then another one joined, and then eventually I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here. Like maybe I should actively like recruit, and so we've been pretty selective of like. I don't want just to bring a loan officer over just to hang their license, right? Like that's not what there's definitely companies for that and nothing wrong with those companies. That's just not what we're trying to build. And so we want somebody that's not necessarily a top producer, because let's be honest, like if somebody's already doing 100 plus units a year, like they're going to want to bring a team. They're going to want to like
Yeah.
it could work, but it's not as easy. And so I try to help clients or loan officers that are maybe they're doing 1 or 2 loans a month and they're trying to get to 3 to 4, right? And then they get
Mhm.
there, and then they get to 5 to 6, and then all of a sudden, some of the loan officers on the team are doing some crazy numbers. So
I saw
it's
someone
pretty
do
wild.
16 loans last month, and
Yeah,
that was insane. Not you doing
not,
16
and it
loans.
wasn't
And
me.
yeah. And are you still actively like accepting loan officers, or are you at a place where you're like, I'm not gonna take any more people right now, just invest in the team?
For the right person, for sure. Because there's been some of the younger, I say younger because younger in their career, loan officers that have come over, like technically they're not doing the production that we're doing, but they're doing some things better than that
Mm.
we are doing, frankly. And so like, oh man, I really like the way you did that. Like I'm going to implement that into my business, put my own twist on it, because I don't want to just copy and paste. Like I'm not a fan of copy and pasting. Like just because something works for you doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. So take the best parts of it and then implement it to your style. So we've been doing that and just making everyone better.
I love it. And you invest in your loan officers a lot. Like they get loan partners, they get training with you, they get accountability, obviously a lot of VA loan knowledge. How do you think about investing in your loan officers?
I think to go back to what I said, time is our biggest resource, right? And so if I could to steal a kind of a pillar from Dan Martell, if you've read his book, Buy Back Your Time, how can I free up their time so they can go originate. Because the last time I checked, we are loan originators. Our job is to originate loans and help people out. And so you can't do that if you're babysitting your pipeline or being your own processor or being your own LOA or any number of things, right? That is not your best use of time. And so they need to know, like, so especially if I have really new loan officers, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have an LOA in the background assisting you, but I want you, like, you need to know how to build a file. You need to know how to freaking calculate income. Like, you need to know how to do all this. And then once you get proficient, then the roles will kind of reverse and the LOA will take the lead when an application comes in. But yeah, I give them, marketing help and video editors and LOAs and a branch production manager and all these people that can help grow their business and buy back their time.
And you're just giving them all the tools and resources they need to succeed and be the best version of themselves as originators.
Yeah, I mean, that at the end of the day, I don't know what else a branch manager is supposed to do, but other than try to help grow and successfully grow their team in whatever they want. If they want help with marketing or videos, or if they just need help with, dude, I want help with self-employed income and just figuring out how to calculate that. Like, that's our job, is to support them.
Can I share something with you that I've observed about your team and the people that join you?
Yeah.
They really look up to you. They look up to you as a person, they look up to you as a producer, and they look up to you as what you've really built, like personally and professionally. And it's actually the number one question I get after working with hundreds of loan officers. The number one question I always get is, what does the personal life of someone like you, like a Jay Bunte, who's built an amazing business, what does it look like? So do you feel comfortable sharing like how it looks on the personal side of things? Like, you make great money. What does that look like? What are the toys you have? What does your family think? How do you take around? What do you do for fun? Everything, anything that you want to share on that.
Yeah. The money thing is really weird, man. Anybody that's ever like had a goal, like, I want to make $200,000 a year or $500,000 a year or $1 million a year. Once you reach that goal, you're like, I'm still Jay. Like, nothing's like, yeah, we have like more opportunities, but it's really weird when you hit that level. And so, personal, man, I truly believe that, especially if you have kids, like, it starts hitting home. Like, you're never getting this time back. I have a high schooler and I got one in middle school, and like, here in a couple of years, they're out of the house. Like, and so I'm never getting this time back. And so I'm a big believer, especially with my team too. I tell them, I'm like, you better not be working all night, all weekend. I get it. I get that you're trying to build a business. I get it. But if you're having to do that, there's something wrong with you. You're not as efficient as you should be. So let's figure out the reason why you're having to work till freaking midnight and you're having to work on Sundays. Now, if if they just wanted, like, hey, I got a side project, I'm trying to build this freaking VA loan masterclass webinar thing, cool. I get it. But if it's like, hey, I'm just struggling because I'm behind on applications and all that, like, there's something wrong. And so I've gotten to a point, especially on weekends, that if the loan officers are watching this, like, when new applications come in on the weekend and they're like, I want to, they're just rushing you for a pre-approval letter, I've almost stopped taking those because they're not sticky. They're just looking for a letter and then they're going to leave you, and so I've done it, man. I've been there. I've been at parties on Saturday nights and I have to tell my wife, like, hey, I got to go. I got to head back to the house so I can work on this application that came in. And she's like, bro, I'm like, what? And so I'm not doing that anymore. And that's not a diss for loan officers that do it, but just like, I tell the clients, I'm like, look, all right, when do you make it? And the first thing, a lot of them are like, oh, well, I'm buying next month. I'm like, well, okay. Monday morning, we'll figure this out. Like, dude, it's Saturday night. And a lot of times people are afraid to have those conversations, but most of the time they actually respect that. They're like, okay, oh, I didn't know you were with your family. Like, no, this can wait. If you just have that conversation. And the ones that are just adamant about getting that pre-approval letter, like right then and there, man, maybe we're not the best fit anyways, so might as well just separate then. But personally, like, big believer in vacations. we've taken 2 vacations already, and we're headed to Montana in a couple of weeks for our 3rd vacation this summer. Now, yeah, I'm working a little bit on the vacations. I like to get up early because there's nobody really messing with you during that time, right? Like nobody's calling you. No, nobody's checking in. Hey, is the appraisal back yet? Like nobody's messing with you at 4 a.m, 5. So I like to get up early, and those are my power hours to like really kind of look at the business and work on things, especially social media content. That's when I write my scripts. That's when I record my videos, all that stuff. So, but doing that allows me to, dude, by the time 4 p.m, 5 p.m. rolls around, I'm done. Like I'm not doing, and no, obviously if we already have somebody pre-approved and they just need to tweak the pre-approval letter or something, like that's easy. But I'm talking about like brand new applications that are like, man, I'll get to you in the morning.
Yeah. I love one thing, and I want to come back to the personal life of things, but one thing that you said that a lot of loan officers will appreciate is that you started to prioritize your family and communicate it to those clients that come in. And the ones that appreciate it, you convert them better. And the ones that you don't convert better and don't appreciate it, you were actually never going to convert because you sounds like you've gone through it and like you've bent over backwards and did everything and they still left you. So you just
Yep.
said, I want to live my ideal life, the thing that works for me, and it's helped your conversion and your business and everything.
Yeah, dude, we've all been there, man. You bend over backwards for weekends and months and everything, and then you finally get under contract and they leave you for, oh, dude down the road offered me $400 credit or something. You're like, bro, you're like, okay. So it doesn't always happen that way, but more times than not, I have found it's the ones that are just always like, I need this, I need this, I need this, and just they just see you as a commodity. They don't see the value in you.
And you stop treating yourself like a commodity. So now people see the value in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing you said that's going to make some people dream or tick them off. You stop working by 5 p.m. Like, yeah, you do other things like you're available, but you really don't do a whole lot. How does that work day to day? Is it true? Is it as good as it sounds? And is it possible?
It's really hard, to take that leap of faith, and because I think it just comes down to communication. Because when I'll tell my buyer's agents or whatever, I'm like, hey, from like 5 to 8, it's family time, bro. Like if there's a fire, I'll check my email before I go to bed. And if something's up, like we'll figure it out. But at least for these few hours, I'm going to be with my family, and we got sports, we got practice, and the amount of them that they're like, it's almost like I'm giving them permission to, they're like, yes. Oh, thank you, Jay. Like, I'm totally cool with that. And as long as you communicate it, because I think that's probably the biggest frustration that any realtor or client that has with their loan officer is poor communication. You're like, dude, I emailed the guy, I texted the guy, I called him, I can't get a hold of him. You know, I'm only saying there's certain hours that I'm going to block off for important things. And if you can't understand that, if you can't respect that, then maybe we're not the best fit.
Hmm. And because you have such a wide reach, you're in a place where you can absolutely tell certain realtors we're not a good fit. And you don't notice it in your paycheck or in your business.
No. And once you get to a part where like you can afford to have an assistant or something like that, actually, let me take that back. I think everyone should have one. A lot of people wait until like, oh, I'm going to get one. Once I get to 10 loans a month, I'll get one. I'm like, it's way too late by then. You're right. You need to. So that's a whole nother conversation. But especially with mine, she's on 2 different time zones than me. So it's not a big deal for her. Like, hey, if it's 7 o'clock for me, it's only 5 o'clock for her. And she's like, cool, man. So if an emergency comes in for whatever reason, like you have somebody that's kind of backfilling you.
That's awesome. I have one question for my own curiosity. In that time between 5 to 8 where you focus on your family, are you able to mentally unplug from work and be fully present and focused?
Yep. Like I've tried it originally I tried it, but then my phone would still be on me and I'd hear what, or my Apple Watch would buzz. And so that's naturally, so I've got to a point to where I take the watch off, like, and then I'll put the phone on silent or something. And I've even tried different things where like I'll give it to my wife, and it'll
Hmm.
be like, hey, you can be kind of the gatekeeper here. And if somebody calls, they got to go through you and explain to you like why they need to get a hold of me at 7:57 o'clock at night, and what the emergency is. So it's I don't want to I don't want to I want to be clear, like it's not like I'm just like totally okay, it's 4 o'clock. I'm turning off my phone and I'm not getting back to anybody. It's just I'm blocking off certain time hours to where I really don't mess around with it. And then I'll check once before going to bed just to make sure there's nothing like super critical.
That's a good clarification. And nothing is perfect. We don't do anything perfect. What would you say is your success rate in like hitting the most important stuff to you personally, like and not letting work come over that?
It's the most like success is like where there's no hitches in the pipeline, right? Everything's going smoothly. There's no balls being dropped. There's no applications being missed. And we've gotten to that point. And that's even with not, blocking off certain parts because let's be honest. And I was guilty of this at first too. Every loan officer feels like every single loan is like the most important loan. And like, oh my gosh, if they email me and if I don't respond to them in 5 minutes, like my realtors are going to be pissed at me. Like, no, like it doesn't happen that way. There's nothing that important that you have to respond to like instantly. They're really, when you really look at it, and especially if you have systems in place and the right people doing the right jobs, like, um, there's nothing. Unless somebody is at the freaking closing table, and a number is wrong on a closing disclosure or something, which has to be like that is so like one-off scenarios. I'm talking about just the day in and day out stuff. But I was a victim of it, man. I was a victim of just having my phone glued to me, and I'm like, oh my God, if Joe texts me and if I don't respond to him right away, he's gonna leave me for another lender. Like, no.
No, yeah, you're beyond it. You realize what actually works, what makes people sticky, and what's important. Is it okay if we switch to really tactical parts of stuff? I'm going to ask you some really metric-driven questions. And if you don't know the answer, that's okay. That's actually good. That's part of the process. And then I want to hear your advice. Well, not me. I do it as well, but really loan officers want to hear your advice for them on how to build their business, the key things you've learned. Does that work for you?
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So what are the top three channels for your referrals and leads currently?
Facebook by far number one, like by far. Um, I would say past clients. We can count that as a channel, right?
Yeah, is it past client referrals or just repeat clients?
Yeah, past client referrals. And then I would say realtors referring or financial advisors, or let's just call those like third party um, partners. Those are probably my third. So direct to client, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, that's by far my number one, right? They consume my content, and then eventually, when they're ready, whether it's 6 months down the road or a year down the road, they reach out to me via DM or whatever, and it's like, hey, can we chat? Yeah, and then past clients, hey man, can you help my brother? Can you help my friend? He's PCSing to Fort Bragg. Can you help him? By far, that's number two, and then realtors number three.
Interesting. Realtor referrals. Do you track how many leads and referrals you generate every month?
I know you're going to get mad at me. I I do track, like I do at least have a lead tracker. Like that was one of the things you helped me implement because I was just flying by my seat in my pants. And so like, dude, at the bare minimum, Jay, you got to freaking track your leads. So I do have a tracker. I don't know the numbers like off the top of my head.
Okay. And do you think like 50% is like direct to consumer, like social media, and then maybe 30% is past client referrals and
Yep.
20% realtors?
The last I looked at it, the percentages were close to that.
Okay, nice. And how many applications are you getting every month?
Whew. Oh man. Um,
Or credit
another one.
goals?
Yeah, it's well, probably at least 30 to 40.
30, 40?
I think,
Okay.
yeah, I say 10 a week would be on average.
You also have one of the best credit pull to lock conversions I've seen. I want like actually if when it comes to advice maybe that you have for other loan officers, I would personally like to know how you have such a high conversion, but wait on that. What's your breakdown between purchase and refi?
I think purchase is pretty like we're definitely purchase heavy. Last I looked at, I want to say it was 80 to 85% purchase right now to refis.
And that's been kind of pretty consistent for the past 3 years, right?
Yeah, obviously when rates were lower, it was different. And you see spikes, right? Like last what was it? It was August, September of 2024. We had a little spike in refinances, and then early April when we had that 48-hour freaking refi boom, where rates were really good for like 48 hours. Um, so what I do with my clients is, I have a list. I no, this is not a knock on CRMs, and I'm probably missing a boat here. I don't use a CRM. Like I don't have, so I just have old school freaking spreadsheet of past clients, and I have their rates and the dates they closed. And for VA loans, the all important 210 day, after the first payment when they were first eligible to do an IRRRL. So I just keep track of that, and I'll team up. I'm like, look, I think being fully transparent helps because especially your veterans with a VA, because I have a VA loan. I get the freaking bullshit. Can I cuss on this? Sorry, VA.
Oh, please do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get the things in the mail and the text messages. Hey, your rates are 4.99, or right now they're obviously not at the time of this recording. And you're like, so I'll take screenshots of that and send it to my clients and be like, hey, you're probably getting the messages like this that I'm getting about refinancing. In order to get this rate, what they're not telling you is we're going to have to spend a significant amount of money on discount points buying it down. So when I reach out to you, it makes sense. So, I asked them, what rate are you trying to look for? Kind of how much you're trying to save? Okay, we're not there yet. But when I do reach out, that means we're there and we'll take action. Is that cool? And they were like, yeah, that's cool. And so that's why I had pretty good success in April when we had that 48 hours of like really good rates. I had already been working and teeing up my clients for months. Be like, hey, we're not there yet. I'm keeping you in the loop. We're not there yet. And then I reached out to them, and most of them are like, cool, man, let's go.
Oh, nice. So you were already like they knew you were gonna reach out to them, and when you reached out, it was time to go. So it was set.
Yep, yep. And you gotta, I have YouTube videos on. I'm a big fan of that because you, as you know, man, you talk to somebody and you shotgun blast a crap ton of information to them and you just hope that they retain it, right? Or maybe they're not even the decision maker. Maybe their spouse is the one that's actually making the decision on the refinance, right? There's usually one person in a relationship that's like the financial person, right? And so you're hoping you're talking to them. And so I'm like, hey, everything that we just went over, I have a really clear, easy to understand YouTube video that breaks all this down. Do you mind if I send it to you? And then you can watch it whenever you want. Um,
Oh,
and all my military guys they've messed with it. Like, yeah, dude, I'll watch it on the shitter. I'm like, no, okay, cool. If that's whenever you want to watch it, like, but I texted them that, and so it helps two reasons. For one, it frees up your time to help, like, hopefully that answers a lot of their questions, and they're not peppering you with 20 questions throughout the week. And then two, it helps kind of just build your authority. And like you're just, oh man, this guy has a YouTube channel and he's got these videos and this, like, it just kind of separates you from the thousands of other loan officers out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's so brilliant. I love it. And so you don't have to regurgitate the same information over and over again. The moment they have a question, there's a readily available resource. One thing that I also really like about your business model is that you are the person that you're helping. Like you are your clients. You're a veteran. You use the product yourself. You've gone through active duty. You've gone through it all. So like you understand them so well because they are you.
Yeah. And that definitely helps. Like, I'm not going to be ignorant to that fact, but it doesn't mean you have to. I mean, look at our West branch, Jimmy Hobson, Tyler Carlston, perfect examples. Both of them are not veterans, but they've made a niche in the community through education and just being freaking really. I mean, Jimmy talks about it all the time. He's like, the amount of people that think I'm a veteran is like mind blowing. He's like, I'm not a veteran. I'm really good at VA loans. And so anybody that's watching this, you don't have to like be a veteran to do VA loans, but it helps.
It helps, especially as you get to 100 million and next goal 200 million. Couple more questions tactically. What does your team look like right now?
Predominantly veterans. Most of them are military veterans who want to. They're either already doing really good VA loan volume, or they want to get into VA loans. And so, in order to join our team, you don't have to be a freaking veteran. You don't have to like specialize in VA loans. But I think, kind of to our point earlier, they've seen my success and they're like, well, he's obviously doing something right. Maybe I can glean some of that information and implement it into my business. So we try to just, I would say, I think well over 70, like branch wide, I think well over 70 something percent of our closed loans are VA loans.
Wow. And how many staff people do you have personally working on your loans alone, not in the branch?
So personally, I have my full-time like production partner who's with the loan from start to finish, right? So she's technically an LOA, but she also stays with it. And then we're hiring the branch production manager, which is basically the liaison between the loan officers and processing and underwriting. Because obviously things are going to happen throughout the process, right? Appraisal comes in low or any number of things. So I want them to kind of be the liaison that's helping facilitate everything.
Got it. Perfect. And how many loans are you closing every month now?
It's averaging over 10 units a month. Some months 16, some months 8, but it's averaging over 10. And maybe even
You're
averaging over
still
12.
having consistent months. Yep. So
Yeah.
you still have that like up and down seesaw kind of situation.
Yeah, some of it is just cyclical to the market, right? Some of it's refi driven. If we ever get low rates, sometimes that drives it up. And but it's pretty consistent. I would say 10 plus units a month for sure, maybe even more.
I think it might be at 12 now because
Yeah.
you've had some really big months and it's like, wow, those are record breaking months. Jay, thank you. Now it's your turn. A lot of people want to know what would you give as advice or feedback to other loan officers, and just clarify what kind of loan officer at what stage in their career.
I would say I don't care if you're on day one or day 1,000. If you're not trying to build your personal brand and build that authority, you're missing a huge boat. Because I don't know how many loan officers there are in America. I see, let's just call it 100,000 for easy numbers. Like, what separates you from all those others? And you might be a guideline master. You might have the 26/7 freaking memorized. But if people don't know about you, how are they going to do business with you? So like, how are you going to build your brand? Are you going to build it through just being the local authority? Well, then if you decide that's what you're going to do and you're going to sponsor all these open houses and you're going to sponsor these, cool, do it, but go all in on it. Or if you want to be like what I'm doing and just build your social authority through social media and video content and a bunch of other, then go all in. The worst thing that you can do is just try it once or try it twice and be like, I didn't get any leads from it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, right? So seriously commit to it. And I'm a big fan of social media because the scale and the reach. I mean, think about it. I could spend 2 hours batch shooting 6 videos, and the scale and the reach on that is infinite compared to spending 2 hours meeting one realtor at coffee. I'm not bashing it. I think you should do a mix, but don't go all in on the freaking coffee appointments. That you got to have a mix.
Yeah, a good mix. have a wide net, get a lot of attention, build a big brand, and then kind of cherry pick the kind of referral partners that are aligned with you that you want to work with and go deeper with.
Yep. And the last thing that I'll say is you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have messes. There's not a single loan officer that's been doing this for a while that hasn't had that one loan where you're like, oh man. So when it happens, do not hide from it. Do not like just start ghosting and just like, man, I don't want to make the like get out in front of it. Like dude, I've been, I've only been in the industry 5 years. This year we had one where like there's multiple reasons where it could have been caught and it wasn't caught. And I mean the client still closed and everything, but it was like, man, should have seen this and I should have made this call, right? And so I think about those loans more than any of the freaking ones that closed. And so I would say that if you make a mistake, own up to it. I did not lose my referral partners. I think our relationship actually got stronger, because we figured it out together and I owned up to it. And so mistakes happen, man.
Mistakes are guaranteed to happen. Just get there and be honest, communicate, and fix them.
Yep.
Jay, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Sam.
Oh, can loan officers reach out to you or no?
Yeah. No, don't ever contact me. I don't care. And if I had one call me last night, loan officer, completely different company, just had a question. He had a VA loan that went sideways and he was like, dude, I just want a sanity check. Like, here's the scenario. Help me out. So y'all reach out. You can, find me on social media, whatever. I'm not going to freaking try to recruit you or like, let's just talk. At the end of the day, I want you helping veterans and I want you, changing the narrative on VA loans.
What's the best way loan officers should contact you?
If you're on, I don't do all the socials, but I mean, if you have Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, you just search for my name, you're going to find me.
Beautiful. Easy enough. Thank you, Jay.
All right. Thanks, Sam.